Many TF2 weapons have had a fall from grace. Once a king of their slot, and then a few nerfs later, they are barely holding on. Take the Ambassador, once a long-range headshotting machine, and now it still deletes people up close. Bad example, I know. What about the Dead Ringer, which used to let you tank basically infinite damage, and now it still does? Okay, fine, this Sandman, once incredible with stuns basically giving you a free kill, and now it is basically useless. While deserved, this is a perfect example of a fall from grace. And in a very similar spot to the Sandman, and the topic of today's video, sits the Axtinguisher. A weapon once feared, and now completely written off. Before, it was a combo pyro staple, an insanely strong finisher that would basically guarantee a kill, dealing a 195 damage crit to any burning enemy. And the old air blast, which practically stunned enemies in place, and yeah, it was absurdly powerful. But after a wave of heavy nerfs to the Axtinguisher and changes to the air blast, the Axtinguisher ended up in the spot we know it today, mostly forgotten, and honestly completely ignored by most players. But is this Cobbin's stance on this weapon really justified, or is it secretly still got a lot of potential? Let's take a look then, shall we? Alright, let me just go over all the stats at once. Usually I would break them down as I go, but there are so many moving parts here that it makes more sense for me to just jump them all right at you right now. So, the Axtinguisher mini-crits any target that is already burning, and in the process, extinguishes them, so they are no longer on fire. Its damage also scales based on how much afterburn duration the enemy has left, meaning the longer the flame would have lasted, the harder the swings hit. If you secure a killing blow on a burning enemy, you are rewarded with a temporary speed boost, giving you a brief window to reposition or chase another enemy down. But of course, all of that comes with a laundry list of drawbacks, a hefty 33% damage penalty to the melee weapon, no random critical hits whatsoever, and a painfully slow 35% holster speed, which makes swapping from the weapon feel sluggish and risky in the middle of a fight, especially if you don't get an extinguish kill. Ooh, okay, got all that? Simply put, if you pull out the Axtinguisher, you better finish your target off in a single swing, because if not, not only will they stop burning, but thanks for the slow holster speed penalty, you will be left exposed and vulnerable. Against non-burning enemies, it is practically useless, dealing a measly 44 damage and lacking random critical hits. But that's not entirely unfair. Pyro isn't exactly supposed to swing melees at enemies willy-nilly, and the main downside of it being weakest against non-burning enemies makes sense considering it is designed to be a combo weapon. You set them alight first, and then finish them off with the weapon. So when enemies are burning, the weapon comes alive. It mini-crits and deals extra damage based on how much afterburn is left, meaning enemies will take 59 damage from a mini-crit swing, not counting any afterburn, and with it, they will take anywhere from 86 damage to 167 damage depending on the remaining afterburn. But here is why most players have abandoned it. You need a decent chunk of afterburn to cross any meaningful health thresholds, and the damage scaling isn't always consistent. More often than not, you can pull off what seems like a perfect combo, only for the enemy to survive, and cue that awkward moment in game where everything lines up, you swing, and oh, hey buddy. Plus, that speed boost only triggers on a kill, so if your swing doesn't finish off the enemy, you won't even get the bonus to help you follow up with something else. That said, the speed boost is pretty neat. It makes it so you can move 35% faster for 4 seconds, bringing your total movement speed up to 135%, letting you chase down enemies more effectively since your flames have a fixed range. Some enemies were able to completely just stay out of it. Now you can chase after them. And if you do find multiple targets, you can pull off a combo on one, set the rest on fire, and pull off a kind of chain stab like the Spy does, chaining speed boost and extinguisher combos between all the targets. But if only Pyro had a weapon which gave them a speed boost on demand, something else that was possibly even in the melee slot. Of course, even if the Extinguisher isn't terrible compared to the stock melee, if it can't compete with a power jack, why should you bother using it? Now let me tell you why it's still worth it, because it's cool and fun as heck. Pyro often struggles to finish off enemies quickly. Flames from a WM1 attack take time to burn people down, giving them room to turn the table on you and kill you themselves, grab a health pack, or survive in another way from Mad Milk or a medic. And that is where the Extinguisher shines. It is a combo weapon which can secure a kill and give you a speed boost to escape or keep applying pressure to other enemies. Even if it isn't as powerful as it used to be, it does add a lot of utility to the Pyro's toolkit. Sure, it has been nerfed, but that just means you need to play a little bit smarter and more careful. As long as you can still land kills with it, the Extinguisher will not feel too bad. So maybe it won't be your default pick, but it is a fun situational side grade which can make matches way more entertaining to the normally stale Pyro playstyle. So when it comes to actually using the Extinguisher effectively, one reliable approach is to play it as a sneaky finisher. Start by sneaking up on enemies, set them alight with your flamethrower, and then quickly switch to the Extinguisher to finish them off before they even have a chance to react. This method works best against light classes thanks to a lower health pool, making the combo much more reliable. The beauty of this approach is the follow-up potential. After landing the kill, you gain the speed boost, allowing you to either escape safely or reposition and charge the next target. It's perfect for grabbing a single pick in a large crowd and getting away unscathed, or for eliminating an isolated enemy while staying out of danger yourself. This style emphasizes timing, precision, and awareness, turning the Extinguisher into a tactical tool rather than just raw damage. To make this playstyle even more effective, try pairing it with the Detonator. This thing is infamous for its movement potential, letting Pyro perform small to medium jumps for around 30 to 40 HP. Yes, it still does damage to enemies or whatever, but we don't really care about that part. Whatever, irrelevant. What matters is the mobility it gives you. With the Detonator, you can basically imitate a mini rocket jump like the Soldier does. You can use it to take flank routes and ambush enemies from unexpected angles, which is fine, I guess. But the more fun option is to use it to launch yourself directly at your target, blast yourself in, and ignite them with your flames as you land, and then finish them off with the Extinguisher. The mix of the speed boost and the kill and the extra detonator jumps lets you escape, reposition, or even chain another pick if the opportunity is there. It turns the Extinguisher from a simple combo tool into a full-on hit-and-run playstyle, letting you appear out of nowhere, delete somebody in an instant, and then vanish before anyone even knows what happened. This makes Pyro pretty much like some other subclass you may know. I don't know, jumping in, hitting them with the melee, never seen it before. And the adrenaline of landing that perfect pick, followed by a flawless getaway, or chaining detonator jumps with the speed boost for multiple other picks, is something which no other Pyro melee weapon can give you, and if you haven't tried it yet, you really should. That said, it's not exactly easy. Jumping with the detonator can feel a little bit unpredictable, where two almost identical inputs can lead to drastically different results. Sometimes the Extinguisher combo just doesn't land enough damage, you didn't apply enough afterburn duration, or the target is just simply too tanky to finish off this way to begin with. On top of that, enemies who are aware of you can just back off or shoot you, making it nearly impossible to pull off the kill in some situations. Still, despite the challenge, this is an insanely fun playstyle for both Pyro and the Extinguisher. When it clicks, there's nothing quite like it. Now of course, that's just one way to use the Extinguisher, but there is another option which I found, maybe a little bit more reliable one, and that's the classic, use it as a finisher method in a combo. Pretty much, you play Pyro how you normally would, in whichever style suits you. But instead of the regular W plus M1 to light enemies on fire and hope for the best, you switch to your melee to finish them off. Unlike the sneaky ambush playstyle, this method has you confronting enemies head on, challenge them into a fight, and then sealing the deal with the Extinguisher. To make this finisher combo really effective, I would recommend pairing the Axtinguisher with the Degreaser. Sure, your afterburn damage will be a little bit lower, and your air blast will cost you ever so slightly more, but honestly, both of these downsides hardly matter. And the real benefit you can get from lighting enemies up quicker thanks to the switch speed, and then back to your melee, again, much faster, really benefits to this playstyle. And this is great for two main reasons. First, there's less time for enemies to react or escape while you switch weapons. Second, the faster combo means that the afterburn won't have enough time to tick down, boosting the effectiveness of your swings because you can do them quicker. It is so quick that you can even pull off this combo on other pyros. You can do it with other primaries, but the timing window is so tight, at least from my experience, that it might as well be impossible. The Degreaser makes it a lot more feasible. You can also pair the Degreaser with the previous playstyle to switch between jumping and finishing easier. Just use the Degreaser. They kind of go hand in hand with the Axtinguisher, to be honest. Almost as if they were made to be in the same... Oh, what the hell? Anyway, using the Axtinguisher as a combo tool to finish off enemies is the most obvious way to make use of it. Like I mentioned before, Pyro can struggle to secure kills against enemies with burst damage options, so giving Pyro one of his own in the melee slot is a fantastic addition to his kit. So how do you guarantee that combo? Because, like I said, it can be hard, and if you're not using the detonator to force yourself into melee range, reaching there can be difficult for a Pyro. So when doing a standard WM1 attack, how can you do it? You could try the "oh, I sure am running away" strat, baiting enemies to chase you and then suddenly turning around and to deliver a devastating Axtinguisher kill. It can work, though its success is a little bit situational. The better method, use that mysterious button on your mouse called the right click. Your air blast. At first glance, air blasting might seem counterproductive, since it pushes enemies, away from you instead of holding them in place for melee kills. But, do you know what this is? No? Are you stupid? It's a wall. Enemies can't pass through walls, at least to my knowledge, so sending them into one, knocking them into a corner, or trapping them in tight spaces sets them up perfectly for the Axtinguisher combo. Once they're stuck, you switch and then swing, finishing them off, and the combo lands almost flawlessly. It's a simple but extremely effective tip that turns ordinary pyro plays into devastating, reliable finishes. And the best part about it is that you don't need to change up your playstyle all too much. You can still do regular WM1, use whichever secondary you like, and just occasionally surprise your enemies with a quick axe to the face. So whether you're sneaking in for flashy ambushes with the speed boost and detonator jumps, or sticking to the more reliable combo finisher approach, the Axtinguisher still has a place in Pyro's toolkit. It rewards smart timing, awareness, and creativity, turning a melee weapon which some wrote off long ago into a tool for both fun and effective plays. It might not be the default pick that the Power Jack is, and sure, it has been nerfed far from its glory days. That doesn't mean that it can't shine in the right hands. But it's certainly not the greatest, thanks to the maximum damage topping out at 167 with full afterburn duration, and the fact that building up to that full afterburn takes time. This combo is practically impossible against heavies, which, okay, Pyro versus Heavy isn't exactly practical anyway, but it is still a bummer, especially if you find them eating. It's tricky against soldiers too, who require a fair amount of W plus M1 before the axe can even finish them off, and demos and other pyros, their 175 HP threshold means that you basically need the maximum duration of afterburn to land the kill. By the time you reach that point with flames, you may as well continue burning them down. The mini-crit is overkill at that stage. Of course, there is the middle ground where your flames plus the axe combo hits just enough to finish them off, but more often than not, I find myself either end of that sweet spot, leaving them with 10 or even single-digit HP, or landing the combo when they were already at such HP thresholds, meaning the effort I put in for it was just totally wasted. Still, The speed boost adds a little bit extra flair and utility, even if the kill itself isn't always needed in that way. It's simply not as good as it used to be, but what I can say for sure is that it is not that bad, and far from useless. The Axtinguisher can still get the job done in the right hands, so if you haven't picked it up for a while, or have never tried it out to begin with, I really urge you to give it a go. Drop your power jack every so often, because either playstyle works. Any loadout can work really, so just jump in and see for yourself, and you might be surprised at how much fun this little weapon can still be.